Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ashley and today I'm going to be catching you up on my progress in my Pan That palette for 2021 with the theme Tiny Pans! Yes, that's right. You've probably been following this project all year, not just with me, but with everyone else that's working on it because this is in collaboration with the PANtastic Ladies. Their theme for 2021 was Tiny Pans, and we were all choosing palettes that were either, like me, super small, or perhaps they have the lowest grams of product, or whatever the case may be. However you felt like it would satisfy the prompt, that is what we were choosing. And I have been spending all year working on this teeny tiny little baby palette from Sleek. This is from When the Sun Goes Down. I don't think they make this palette anymore, certainly not in this size, but it's so stinking gosh darn cute. So without further ado, let's look at what the palette looked like last month. And this is what the palette is looking like today. So as you can see, there's a lot of really beautiful, bright, shiny pan in this palette, but there's also still a lot of product in this palette. So as always, let's go ahead and talk about how many times I used each of these shadows, and I will pop up comparison photos of this month versus last month so that we can see any visual changes that I may have made. So for the first shadow, it actually was no longer in this palette. It was in this teeny tiny little compact right here. This was a combination of, I believe, shades 1 and 4. And I did surmise in the last update that this would be completely gone, and I was correct. I mean, there wasn't a ton of product left in there anyway. I was actually using it as a face highlight, as well as a brow bone and inner corner highlight, and I absolutely adored it. I loved it so much. It was gorgeous. And I'm kind of sad for it to be gone, but as you guys also know, I have a lot of highlighter in my life, so it wasn't hard to rebound onto something new. So that is thankfully completely gone. The second shade in the palette I did use 5 times, and I don't know if you can really tell in the picture, but I have just the tiniest little smidgen of side pan going on in there. I don't use a lot of this shadow at any given time because it is deceptive. It looks nice and kind of purpley taupey in the pan, but on my skin, just the way that it reacts with my skin, it gets much deeper. So I use it in very small quantities, and it is nowhere near being gone in this palette. The third shade is what I moved on to, at least for inner corner highlights for the most part, but it doesn't have any pan in it. I was hoping that it would, but it doesn't. I did only use it 5 times since our last update, so it's of no surprise that there's no pan in it, but that's where it landed. Numbers 4 and 5 are already completed and gone. The 6th shade in this palette, I do believe you'll be able to see a good change visually there. I have used it an additional 3 times since our last update, and it's getting pretty thin in there, which is very exciting to see, very exciting. The same is true for the 7th shade in the palette. I used it an additional 4 times since our last update, and I think you'll be able to see a good change in that pan as well. And it still has some ways to go, but it's definitely looking really barren in there, which I love to see. The 8th shadow, you will notice, is completely gone, which I did actually expect. That was a Franken shadow between, I think, number 5 and number 7. I don't even remember now what this palette looked like originally, but it was 2 of those shadows franken together with a couple of just loose eyeshadow pigments to make just this beautiful sort of bronzy, olivey, golden goodness eyeshadow, and it is completely gone. I absolutely loved using that. I did use it an additional 6 times to clean out the pan entirely, and I'm very happy with that progress for sure. Moving on to shade number 11, I think you'll be able to see a good change there as well. I used it an additional 4 times since our last update, and we have some beautiful sparkly pan going on in there, which is very fun. And that leads us to the 12th shade in the palette. I had very much hoped to hit pan on that, but I only used it twice, including today. So obviously that did not happen. I am wearing almost all Project Pan eyeshadows today, or I mean Pan That Palette eyeshadows today. I have something else just in the outer corner to kind of deepen everything up, because this palette definitely, in my opinion, is lacking in some areas. Mattes for sure. There were only 2 mattes. One was a sort of cream colored matte shade, and the other is the shade number 2. So there was not a lot to work with there. Everything else was shimmer, but also there was just a lack of depth. There wasn't a lot of variety between the sort of light shades, medium shades, and deep shades. It was all just sort of tonally similar. So I always did have to pull in other eyeshadows, which is fine. I mean, you guys know I'm panning too much, but about 1 million eyeshadows, so that wasn't a problem. But I like the way it came out. I think it looked really nice. But clearly we're not done. So here's the thing. I don't think I'm going to do a new Pan That palette next year. Pan That palette is not my strongest panning area, as I think I probably have mentioned on every single update. And while the theme for next year is going to be a lot of fun, I'm not going to spoil anything, I don't think I'm going to participate. If I can't pan this microscopic little palette that only has 2.4 grams in it, there's no way I can pan an entire regularly sized palette. So I just don't see myself participating in the 2022 Pan That palette. However, I am going to continue with this one because dadgummit, I want to get an entire palette used up. Granted, it's just a little teeny tiny thing, but I want to get it finished. I do want to get it finished. So I'm actually going to continue to work on this palette and continue to update you on my progress until it's done and gone. And I feel like that will be a very exciting moment for me. So hopefully you guys are okay with that, but I really want that accomplishment. Now in this challenge, I have also been adding in some just additional teeny tiny makeup products to work on at the same time. One of which is this right here, which has it been in since the beginning? I don't know, but it's been in forever. So this is just a little tiny liquid lipstick from Bobbi Brown. This is their, what is this? The crushed liquid lip in the shade Smoothie Move. I really enjoy this product. It is clearly nowhere near being gone. I used it 5 times since our last update, so it's staying in my life forever, I think. But the other item that I was working on was this little bitty sample of mascara from MAC that we have right here. This is their In Extreme Dimension 3D Black Lash. I used it an additional 8 times and it's done with. I could not get anything else out of it, I don't feel like. I kind of had an up and down sort of feeling with this mascara, and where I've landed on it is honestly an up. It took about 1 million layers, and I think that's where I was most disappointed. I like to be able to put on 2 or 3 coats and then be where I want to be. This took like 7. I mean, it took a lot. Now, it could be because this is a microscopic little package. It could be because I have no idea how old it is in my collection. I'm not sure, but once I applied all of those coats and got it to the intensity that I wanted it to be at, I loved the way it looked. I thought it made my lashes look so pretty, and I didn't have any trouble with it flaking or smudging or moving around throughout the day. So overall, I did really like this, and I would not be sad if another one came into my life. I'm not in the market for any new mascaras right now. If you guys know, actually, you probably will know pretty soon because I'm probably going to do another inventory video. I have more mascara in my collection than I can go through in the time before it goes bad. So I'm not in the market for a new mascara, but if I were, I think I would actually be curious about picking this one up to see if the full size performs in the same way that the mini does. So this is done and dusted. I don't know if I'm going to roll in another tiny product in its place. That's how I had been doing it throughout the course of the year. But since I'm continuing this project into 2022, let me know down in the comments below. Do you want me to pull in another tiny product to take this one's place? Or do you want me just to stick to the palette and just get her done? Let me know. I would love to know. Did you participate in this project? And if so, how did you do? And are you planning to do the 2022 Pan That palette? I would very much love to know. And I think that kind of wraps up where we are. As always, everything that I'm working on as well as everything that I'm wearing will be linked in the description box below. And if you have not yet subscribed, I hope that you'll consider doing so. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you're having an amazing day, and I will see you next time. Bye.